McClung's Arthur Monologues. Today, I want to talk about something, as opposed to talk about nothing. Hold on. I'll let you know in about 3 seconds. First thing I want to say today is this. I've just finished reading Dave Champion's book. Title, Income Tax, Shattering the Myths. And I gotta tell you, it does. Dave Champion, in my view, or in my opinion, shall we say, is the leading expert on the criminal application of the income tax. Let's just say he is knowledgeable to the point where we would have to say, after reading the book, I have to say that he is an expert on the income tax. And to my knowledge, the leading expert in the tax honesty movement. I think the book, Income Tax, Shattering the Myths, should be required reading for every American. Now, when I say required, I don't know who would require that. Should the government require it? That's not going to happen because it's an indictment against the government, and particularly the IRS and Congress and Supreme Court and so on. Well, not particularly or directly Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has made some rulings that were valid, legal, constitutional, and so forth. But let's just say that the book is excellent. The book, in my opinion, my expert professional opinion, is right on. And I recommend it. I recommend it highly. I recommend it to the point of suggesting that if you don't get the book and read the book, there's something wrong with your brain. Now, I'll point out that the book is rather expensive. Now, before you make any conclusions about that, Dave Champion published the book himself. That means he paid for the publication of the book. He paid a printing company to print it. You won't find it on Amazon.com, which is unfortunate. I think it should be. And I know from experience, personal experience and personal knowledge, and from my own my own efforts to publish books, it is expensive. For example, and Dave Champion's book is it's Income Tax, Shattering the Myths, is 424 odd pages. That's a lot of information, a lot of facts, a lot of documented resources and information. Between it's not a hardcover, it's a soft cover. I think the cost would be prohibitive at 425 pages to publish that book, to self-publish a book like Dave Champion did, and as I often do myself. It would just be cost prohibitive, and the price would have been outrageous. So at any rate, I think the book, and it lists a tag on the book, suggests $150, $149 a copy, per copy. Well, that's a lot of money. Unless you want to compare it to the income taxes that you are subject to every year, subject to in the sense that you are subjected to a criminal act by the IRS, and they, terrorize you and rob you of your money, your property, your rightful property, by the way. And I'm sure there are, I'm thinking, millions of people are paying thousands of dollars a year in income tax that they don't owe. And I'm not making this up. I'm not just saying this off the top of my head. I'm not just saying it because I don't like to pay taxes. I don't like paying taxes that I don't owe. I don't like paying money to an entity, a terrorist organization like the IRS. I don't like giving criminals and psychopaths money. My property, particularly, because, it's fucking mine. You understand what I'm saying? It belongs to me. I made it, I earned it, it's mine, and I have a right to keep it until I wish to spend it, and therefore exchange my property for somebody else's property. Let's say, for example, groceries, food. You grow food in your garden, you have an excess of food, you want to share that food with someone else, but you would like to get paid for it. It's your labor that produced it. And a good deal of cooperation from nature, by the way. And you think, I've got extra potatoes here. I'll not need those, that many. And I'll trade my potatoes for something you have that I want. Or need. Each one is, both are valid. You can buy something you need or buy something you want. It's either way, or both, or the same thing. I like potatoes. It's a staple in my diet. You got potatoes? I don't have potatoes. I want your potatoes. Can I have some potatoes? Yes, you say. I will give you some potatoes for X number of dollars. Let's say, what's the good fair price for a bag of potatoes these days? Let's say you value your potatoes based on your labor and the expense that you put out to grow those potatoes on your property, by the way. And you have, you have potatoes. And I would like, say, 10 pounds of potatoes. Let's say 5 pounds of potatoes a week. Just a guess. All right. So I need 5 pounds. Okay, let's just keep it simple. I need a pound of potatoes every now and then, periodically. So I come to you and I say, you got potatoes? And you say yes. And I said, I would like to have some of your potatoes. And you say, I'll sell you X amount of potatoes for $1. All right then. Well, I have $1 and I want that X number of potatoes. And you give me the potatoes and I give you the dollar. I'm not suggesting how many potatoes that would be. You know, in my state of mind, that would be my thinking. A little old-fashioned here. Pre-inflation dollars, I would expect for $1 I should get maybe 10 pounds of potatoes. That's just me. I'm not saying that's what you would say or think. Perhaps you aren't. Perhaps you are a young person. Perhaps you are under 30 or under 20, and you don't remember when a pound of potatoes was like 5 cents or 6 cents. Maybe you don't remember that. If you're an older than 20 or 30-year-old person, you may not remember potatoes selling for 6 cents a pound, or hamburgers selling for 19 cents a pound, 29 cents a pound, or even 39 cents a pound. You may not remember that, or you may have not even been alive during that period of time when a loaf of bread was 19 cents. Oh, by the way, when a Hershey bar was a nickel. When you could get a Coke and a hot dog at the soda fountain, which what they used to call those places, snack bar, fast food place, you could buy a hot dog and a Coke for $0.25. In fact, I bought two hot dogs and a Coke for $0.25 in my younger days. And I'm not that old, not ancient, not a caveman. So I have the need for your potatoes, and you have potatoes. And, well, let's put it this way. I have potatoes. Let's reverse that. I have potatoes. I grow potatoes. I have an excess of potatoes. I have 500 pounds of potatoes, and I find a storage for those so they don't get bad. Put them in the cellar, keep them cool. And I have potatoes all summer long, or all winter long. Don't let your potatoes freeze, by the way. Excuse me. And I have potatoes. And you like potatoes. You want some potatoes. You think, I think I'd like to have some potatoes. I'm going to fry me up some French fries. And hey, I've got dollars, which are pretty worthless, but I got some. And you need some potatoes. You want some potatoes? Okay, I got them. Give me $1. I'll give you, a couple pounds of potatoes, whatever that would be at the time. Adjusted for inflation, which is robbery, by the way, another aspect of the income tax in the Federal Reserve. We'll get into the Federal Reserve today. Yeah. They're not going to let me in the Federal Reserve any day, I guarantee you, those bastards. At any rate, my potatoes, I grew them in my garden, in my yard, on my property, which I own, and you want my potatoes? I got potatoes. I need something from you. I need money, or something of value that I need or want. Let's suppose you want my potatoes and I need something you produce. If it's not dollars, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a pair of pants or a gallon of gas. Talking about trading your gasoline for my potatoes is a little iffy there, but let's say you produce, now let's keep it in the same vein. I produce potatoes and you don't. And you need my potatoes or want my potatoes, and you produce corn. Or perhaps you raise cattle and you have beef. I need some you need some potatoes. I need some beef. I want some beef. I want some corn. You've got the corn. I've got the potatoes. I'll give you some of my potatoes for some of your corn. We will trade. Or I will purchase. You will purchase from me. We will purchase each other. Free enterprise, by the way. Free enterprise. Now, what's this got to do with the income tax? All right. Your property, you can do with what you want. If you have a lot of corn, you can eat it yourself. And if you have more than you can eat, you can feed it to the cows if you have cows, and they will like it. And then you will have beef, which I want too, as well. Fair market, open market, free enterprise, and that loathsome word that people love to hate because they're not very bright. Capitalism. Capitalism gets a bum rap these days, and people who don't like capitalism are, you'll excuse me for saying it and being blunt, but if you are opposed to capitalism, you're a fool. I was going to say something worse than fool. I was going to say stupid, idiot, moron, but, let's just say fool. All right, your property, you have a right to do with it as you please. And by the way, the courts in this country have ruled that you have the right to do with you whatever you want with your property. It's yours. Now, I won't get into the little sticky parts about things like the local property taxes, except to say that that's local, and you do have some say in that matter, because you can go down to the local courthouse or assessor's office and say, hey, you're taxing me just a bit too much for this property I own, and I don't like it. So you might want to reconsider evaluating my tax property, because my property is not worth that much, and I can prove it. And you can petition the local tax assessor to get your taxes reduced, because he's charging me like $50,000 worth of property, and I only had $10,000 worth of property. That's not right. So, change it. I can prove it's only worth $10,000. All right. So far as that property taxes, and the fact of the matter is, I can't wage battles against everything. There's only so much time and energy available to any one person to wage war against criminals, psychopaths, and thieves, and liars, and terrorists, and I'm talking about like government. And if you're in America, you know what I'm talking about. Well, you should know. If you're living in some other country, then you've got your own problems, and I'm sure the government has a lot to do with those problems. However, where I'm pretty much talking about the place that I live, which is called America, by the way. As opposed to where you live, wherever that may be, if it's not in America. So, the courts have ruled this. The Constitution and various documents throughout history in regards to the government and what they have the power to do and what they have the right to do. Well, governments don't have any rights. It's like, think of it this way. Governments are corporations, and corporations have no rights. A little side note here. Corporations don't have rights. They have privileges. They are granted the privilege by the people, by way of their government, let's say, to exist and engage in a business or a privileged business. They have the privilege of conducting business. Walmart is a corporation. It has the privilege of conducting business, or engaging in the privilege of offering something for sale to the people, the public. They don't have rights. And by the way, Facebook is a corporation, a public corporation, meaning you can buy stock in Facebook. Anybody, if you have any money and you want to buy stock, you can buy stock on the stock market. Which means you can own a part of Facebook. That means it's public. That means the people. Some corporations can be owned almost exclusively and entirely by normal, regular human beings, like citizens, or me, or you. I want to buy some stock in Facebook. Okay, how many stock do you want? Oh, I want $10,000 worth. Okay, here you go. And that makes you a stockholder, meaning you have a say in the running of the business. Some people have some kind of belief that, Facebook is private property. The offices where Mark Zuckerfucker works may be his personal property. His office might be in his home. Personal private property. However, a corporation is a fictitious entity which, really you can't put your finger on it because it's not real. It's fictitious. It was invented by Mark Zuckerberg and the government that issued him a charter to be a corporation. So don't get me wrong, Mark Zuckerfucker, I'm sorry. I don't like the guy very much. I'm sorry. Might like and enjoy Facebook from time to time, but the guy that runs it, invented it, operates it, owns it, whatever, well, he doesn't own it completely because they're a stock, and some people buy stock, and maybe I own 10 shares in Facebook. It means I'm part owner of Facebook, the corporation, that is. At any rate, corporations have no rights. They have privileges. They have the privilege of engaging in Facebook activities, producing Facebook and making it available. The Supreme Court just ruled the other day, and this is my interpretation. Oops. Might be a little sticky when you start talking about interpreting something. But the court ruled, and I kind of remember the words that were used in the ruling, something to the effect, and you don't have to take my word for this, you can look it up yourself. It's on the internet, I'm sure, somewhere. Because I saw it, and if I saw it, you can see it. So, court ruled, Facebook is public domain. Now, let's get something straight. Words mean what they mean. Except when the government changes the meaning and turns the word into something it isn't. For example, the word child is redefined by the government in the law, Title 18, for example, of U.S. Code. The word child means a minor, someone under 18, which is not the true meaning of the word child. That's just, I think it's criminal. And people who do that are called mind benders. They invented, fabricated, out of thin air, a new definition for the word. And they put it in the law, which they're required to do. If they don't use the word as it comes in the dictionary, then they have to put the definition that they're going to use in the law. And they have. So the word child means a minor, someone under 18. By the way, 18 is just a fabricated number. It's an age that's has nothing to do with anything in reality. It's a fiction. I said, oh yeah, age 18, Well, guess what? It doesn't mean shit. It only means something in the mouth, in the minds, out of the mouth and in the minds of idiots who have no concept of reality. Unless, of course, you're a crook and you're trying to pull something over on the people, which is what the government does daily, every day. The word child means an offspring of parents, and occasionally it means, here it is, a prepubescent human being. Now, generally and almost universally, I'm thinking, and it has even in primitive tribes that have no concept of Facebook or, Walmart or free enterprise, have an understanding of what that means. Prepubescent. I've done some studying, research on native tribes, primitive tribes, so on. And there was this thing, and I think the Jewish religion practices this thing called, when you reach a certain age, boys particularly, reach the age of about 13, and you become, or mitzvah, and then you're a man. That is a young man, particularly, maybe, but you're not a child anymore. 13. So, we know that Jewish folks, and I could go as far as say Hebrew, 13 is accepted as that age when one becomes an adolescent. All right. Let's clarify this. You got an infant, you got a child. You got a child from like when you're out of the womb, breathing in on your own, and crying and pooping in your diaper. Infant. Until you hit puberty. Child. That's the stage of human development called childhood. Once you hit puberty, you leave childhood behind and you transition into adolescence. That is universally acknowledged. That is to say, it used to be when people were actually a little bit more sane and a little bit more educated into the biology and factual reality of things. Child, prepubescent, under 13, certainly under 12. Under 12. Now, I realize, scientifically speaking and biologically speaking, that people are maturing, or girls are reaching puberty sooner and earlier in life, earlier stages, like, for example, not stages, but earlier in like, for example, 9. Girls are beginning to develop breasts, etc. I will not address that at this point here now, because that could be a whole show in itself. However, word child means a prepubescent human being, an offspring of parents. Or someone that you are parenting. For example, if you adopt an infant, then you can parent that person, that human being. Oh, by the way, person means a corporation in the law for the purposes of the income tax. See, I got back to the income tax. For the purposes of the income tax, the word person means a corporation, a fictitious entity. That's what the law says. It's in the law. Read it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. It's in the tax code. Quote, unquote. And I'm not a corporation, so the word person does not mean me in the tax code. Just something you should know. All right. So you have something I want. I have something you want. Let's trade. I'll trade my property for your property. That's called free enterprise. That's called a human right, by the way. And the government has nothing to say about that. It says something about it now because the government has become a giant monolith of evil, criminality, and terrorism. That's not even my opinion. You could say there's certain words there are opinion words, but the fact of the matter is, the IRS is a terrorist organization. And that's just fact. So, I have a right. Courts have ruled, by the way, as if I need the court to tell me this. Courts have ruled you have the right to your property, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which, by the way, is a synonym for property. And you can research that and find that out as well because it's on the internet. Thomas Jefferson, for example. Check him out. The right to life, liberty, and property. You have the right to life if you're a living person, if you've been born. If you haven't been born, you don't have that right yet. Remember that, you anti-abortion fuckers. Nutbag bullies. Christian zealot idiots. Sorry, but that's what you are. If that's what you are that. That's it. Case closed. End of story. Oh, I'm sorry. I just insulted people. Oh, too fucking bad. You don't want people to think you're a fool? Don't act like a fool. Case closed. Anyway. I have the right to trade my property for your property. I have the right to trade my labor for your property. I have the right to trade my labor. It's my property. Courts have ruled as such. By the way, look it up. Oh, where would you find this law? If you don't want to go on the internet and do the research and look it up, you can always get the book. Dave Champion, Shattering the Myths, Income Tax. Buy the book, read the book, then you'll know what I know about that. And you'll know what Dave Champion knows. And when I say no, I mean, hey, got the proof, got the evidence, got the documentation to back it up. It's in the book. Or you can just look it up on your own and find out for yourself. And the courts have ruled, and Dave Champion gives you exact court resources to look this up yourself. The court has ruled that your property belongs to you and you have a right to do with it as you please. You have the right to get property, keep property, use property, dispose of property, buy, sell, give away property. And the government has no say in the matter. You have the right. You don't need the government's permission to do it. To sell it, buy it, get it, make it, manufacture it, or put it on a shelf in your little store for place out in your yard. If you have a little store, you can, whatever that store is, as long as you're not a corporation, which, by the way, buying a state business license makes you a corporation, whether you understand or realize that or not. Anytime you ask the government to exercise a privilege, you have become a corporation. So I don't have a business license because I'm not a corporation. I am not engaging in a privileged activity. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. So you have the right to buy whatever you want. Okay, let's say we got a little mom and pop store up the road here. Well, we do, and they have stuff that they own. It's theirs. They bought it at wholesale, and they're going to sell it for retail. It's called free enterprise, capitalist system. It's a very good process. It's a very wholesome process, and it's the right process for humanity. Yeah, and Tom has stuff, and he wants to sell his stuff to me and you and whoever, the public. So we can go into the store and say, hey, Joe, hey, Tom, I want to buy want a candy bar. I want a Hershey bar. Tom says, well, there's, over there on the rack, there's all kind of candy bars. Pick one out, whatever you want. And I go over and pick up a Hershey bar. I'm kind of partial to chocolate, so yeah, I would naturally get a Hershey bar. I take it over, lay it on the counter, and Tom says to me, that'll be $1. Now let's assume that a Hershey bar is $1. There are chocolate bars that are for $1, yes. And I say to Tom, you own this Hershey bar, and I would like to have it because I want to eat the Hershey bar. And Tom says, that'll be $1. Now bear in mind, like I said before, I used to buy Hershey bars, which were bigger than they are today, by the way, for $0.05. I remember doing that as if it was yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. It was about 60-some odd years ago. Yeah, inflation. Everything's more than it used to be. Why? By the way, if you pay $1 for something that used to be sold for 5 cents, then you could pretty much figure out what inflation has done to the price of things, like a Hershey bar. Now, by the way, we had Hershey bars back in the 50s. It's 1950s, not 1850s. And they were $0.05. Actually, you could buy certain candy bars for 3 cents. I've done that as well. So, Tom said, that'll be $1. And I think that's a little bit steep. And, well, it could be $1.25, $1.50. Duh. It's my candy bar. You want it. You pay what I ask for. You won't get it. Well, that sounds fair. It's his property. But then again, across the street or down the block from Tom's store, there's another store who has Hershey bars as well. And well, hey, I'll just go up there and buy my Hershey bar for less than $1. And he said, good luck on that one, pal, because they're actually $1.10 up there. Oh, crap. Where I could go to the wholesale place and buy my own Hershey bars. Wholesale. I would like to buy Hershey bars wholesale. And they say, well, in order to get it wholesale, which is like $0.05 or 50 cents, whatever, I have to buy a whole case of Hershey bars. Okay, fine. That's what I'll do. So I buy a case of Hershey bars at 50 cents a piece. Outrageous. And I can eat all the Hershey bars I want for 50 cents. And then I have extra Hershey bars that belong to me, mine, I paid for them. I own them. Courts have ruled that I can do this, and that's the way it is. So I'm going to sell the rest of my Hershey bars for 50 cents. Get my money back. Or $1 and make a profit. Which I'm allowed to do because it's the law. And because it's true. That's the way it works. So at any rate, I have the right to buy whatever I want. Sell what I want. It's mine. I own it. I can sell it to you. If you want it, you give me some money and I'll give it to you. Or you can trade some labor for it. Like, for example, you can, mow my yard. And I'll give you some of my Hershey bars. If you want to have my Hershey bars. Give me some money. If that's cash. Use Federal Reserve notes, which is not real money, by the way. It's just a IOU from the Federal Reserve. It's not real money. It's counterfeit. It's fiat money, as they say. But yeah, I'll take it. Because I can trade it for some potatoes from the guy down the road. All right. You grasp what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm telling you. You have the right to buy, own, sell, trade, give away, bury in your backyard property that belongs to you, that you have it. It's yours. Whether you grew it, manufactured it, made it, or otherwise, or purchased it wholesale from a wholesale house, or from your neighbor, whatever. It's yours. You can do whatever you want. So I got a Hershey bar. I'm going to eat it, or I'm going to give it to somebody. Or I'm going to turn around and sell the Hershey bar that you sold to me for $1. I'm going to sell it for $1.10 and make 10 cents profit. Because I've got a lot of Hershey bars. I bought a lot of your Hershey bars and I got a whole case of them from you. I want to resell them. I'm allowed. It's a law. In this country, in America, you have the right, not privilege, the right to dispose of your property in any way you see fit. That's the law. Look it up. You don't have to take my word for it. Just look it up. Trust me. You don't have to trust me. Just look it up your own self. I did. You can. Everybody can. It's on the internet, for crying out loud. You don't even have to go down to the freaking courthouse and go through the law library meticulously and laboriously and find it in the law. Because, it's on the internet now. And you can buy Dave Champion's book at, I believe the website is called davechampionsliberty.com. You should buy it or find a copy or something. I think Dave should put them in like every school and every library in the country, and we should just pay him money for that. I don't know. You can't do that for free if you're poor. Anyway, Dave Champion, Shattering the Myths. A good read, very informative, factual, and aside from a couple little defects in explanations, which are extraneous, not necessarily does not distract from the facts in the book or in the value of that information, or the truthfulness of that information. Now, I mean, he uses the word child molester and pedophile a couple of times, which is pretty disgusting of him, and I forgive him. But it was a foolish thing for him to say in the book. He shouldn't have used those words in the book at all. It has nothing to do with the income tax. And besides, he's wrong. In regards to the income tax and Shattering the Myths, he shouldn't have used those words in the text of the book, because it's, one, irrelevant, and two, it has nothing to do with the income tax and that crime. The greatest financial crime in the history of the world, as Dave would say. And he says it like 100 times in the book, by the way. And I agree. So anyway, get the book, Income Tax, Shattering the Myths by Dave Champion. Find it, get it, acquire it. Get someone to go in with you and chip in some bucks together, buy it together, and then you can all share it and read it. $10 a piece for 5 of you or whatever. So it's not like you can't get the book. Find someone who's purchased the book like me. If you want, I've got it. You want to borrow it, I'm finished reading it. I want it back, but I'll let you borrow it for a couple of weeks to read it. As long as you promise to bring it back, because I'm going to use it in my educational program. Alright, I'm going to let you go now. Time's up for this segment. Going to post this as soon as I can, so it should be up and running on my website and on my radio station, or podcast as they call it nowadays. Sometime today, which is June 28th, 2017. So, good day. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you became a little bit more enlightened, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.